Arkansas, that they were using their technology and their demonic powers that they have to bring in Christians so that the Christians would become their food in the last days when there's famine. And Christians would become their bait. They're their source of food and slavery, and just to own them and abuse them during the last days. Well, the Lord turned that around, and several of us fighting out there for years now, to where we're now kicking them out. We're chasing them out of the area, so that the Christians won't be harmed during that time, because it was their full intent to murder and harm all these people that were being drawn and led out to northwest Arkansas. They were going to become nothing but fodder for the Satanists. And the Lord wasn't going to allow that. And so we've stood up and we've gone to war against that area, against the principalities and powers that were dominating that whole area. And so that's why there's a lot of activity out there. I know somebody was saying they saw a UFO there a couple of weeks ago. I find it interesting that they're finding UFOs where we put a lot of orgone. These aliens are trying to figure out what that ether is out there, what that power is out there that's nullifying all their power, no doubt. They're always interested in what we're doing. I know I was followed around by a UFO most of the time I was out there myself. Not that I paid any attention to it, but my son noticed it. I tend not to pay attention to stuff, and everybody else around me will notice things, because it's so old for me. You know, if I want to see a UFO at night, all I have to do is look up in the sky. If I want to see a spaceship, a star, a UFO spaceship posing as a star, all I have to do is look up in the sky at night. They're all over the place. A lot of those stars you people think you're seeing, they're not stars. They're UFO ships posing as stars. And so it makes it very interesting. The whole world as we know it, or we thought we knew it, when the veil becomes lifted off your eyes, the blindness, and you start to see things more clearly, and how things really are. But I'm looking at a map here, and so, yeah, I feel confident in that one area, section of the central United States, but stay away from eastern Colorado. I don't know what to say about Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas. I really, war-torn, famined, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen to those areas. Just the states I mentioned that would be good. Close to rivers, lakes. If you're not near a river or lake, make sure you have a well, because you don't want to count on government water. Make sure you have time to dig a well, folks. Question for no more questions. I cannot make up my mind on Chavez. What do you think of him? You know what? I know that everybody has good and bad sides to him, but when I think of Chavez, I kind of think of some of these smaller nations that wouldn't bend over for the New World Order, and so were destroyed by America. You know, the CIA has been going into countries for years and forming coups over established governments so they can install their own regimes there. And the regimes they've installed in all these countries are not ones of democracy. They call them democracies. But what they are governments that will be led by the New World Order. And so Chavez is standing up against that. And so, you know what? Good for him. Good for him. He doesn't want to be bullied by the New World Order. And so, I'm sure he's got some bad sides to him, some good. I'm not saying I support him or not, but that's the way I see it. That's the way I see the whole situation. Of course, I would support his stand against the New World Order. But it hasn't lasted very long. A lot of nations like Panama and Nicaragua, eventually they all end up bending over for the New World Order. So, I don't know how long he'll be able to hold out. Maybe the Lord will allow them to hold out so that they'll be a safe haven. One of these few safe haven countries for people to go to while the New World Order takes control of the world. I don't know. Concerning the Apocryphon of John, discerning the characters and their equivalents, could you help me with the following? Is Autogenes Yeshua? Is Yaldabaoth Lucifer? Are Aeons angels? Are Archons fallen angels? Yeah, I think you've got it pretty good. I know Yaldabaoth is Lucifer. I don't even know how to pronounce it. But yeah, that's Lucifer, Eons, Angels. I haven't read that one in a long time. Some of that's Kabbalistic. But let's look at the Apocryphon of John. So that's, I don't know. I'd have to get back to you on that one. It's been a while since I read into all that stuff. I remember reading through the Kabbalah about a year or so ago. It's just very strange. I wanted to see what it was. Very strange. Questions. What is your email address? Because I have trouble getting a hold of you. Well, SherryTalkRadio at Yahoo. Well, if you send stuff to my Sherry Shriner address at Yahoo, there was an underscore between Sherry and Shriner. And so a lot of people mess up because I don't put that underscore, Sherry underscore Shriner, at yahoo.com. There's an underscore there. I'm not going to get into some of this. I understand. If you have a question, folks, you can send it to SherryTalkRadio at yahoo.com. I'm going to talk about Bible code grids and software. I'm not get into that right now. I talked about that earlier, exactly how I do the codes. I don't know where Enoch went. Someone asked, where is Enoch going? All these places. Do you think he went into the hollow of the earth? Many of his descriptions fit perfectly for that scenario. No. Because it says Enoch was taken up into heaven. So if there's hollow earth, they're just mimicries of heaven. That's all Satan can do. Duplicate and imitate what the Lord has. Where are these? Okay, the different churches written in Revelations, they are long-term promises and prophecies from Christ written by John. Where are those churches now? Well, they're all in operation today. I know some people believe that, it was like a time period. This church was during this time, and this church was during that time, and this church. And I believe they all run consecutively throughout time. Because when you read those churches, the Church of Laodicea being the last days church, Church of Pergamos, Church of Philadelphia being the one that was promised to be spared from the hour of temptation that comes across the world, and the hour of temptation being when the chip mark is going to be enforced. So the Church of Philadelphia will be spared. But make no mistake, the churches of today, the majority of them are not the Church of Philadelphia. And so they will not be spared. They will be going through the persecutions. And so I believe that they all run concurrently. Even the Church of Ephesus, where they were praised to have discerned that Paul was a false apostle in the midst. Even today there are churches who have discerned that. Very few. But there are out there. There is an isolated Christian community in Switzerland that utilizes free energy. Just a thought for those searching for a safe haven. Well, we all are. Most of them. You may get more than you bargained for on that. And, of course, you don't want to, any kind of safe havens, any kind of covenant communities. One thing the Lord's told me is they're all infiltrated. I'm not saying this one is in Switzerland. I'm particularly thinking about the ones in America. Being infiltrated by government agents. But the Lord has a way of getting rid of them when He's going to need to the most. So, don't worry about that. Let's see. Come in. And like I said, if you got questions, SherryTalkRadio at yahoo.com. Here's a comment. In regards to the shooter at Virginia Tech, was he programmed to kill? Thanks. You know, what I've said is that I would by eating my right shoe. I can't even talk. My right shoe. I need a coffee break here. That if I ran his name in the codes, I would find the same thing in his code that I found in DC Sniper code. You know, definitely believe he was. It's just too convenient that he was killed so he can't talk, just like the kids at Columbia.